Hey guys, CJ here, back with another review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it's really good to be back after so long away. And thankfully, this episode made the wait entirely worthwhile as it started off on incredibly solid footing. Yes, this premiere was very strong, and it might actually be as close as we'll ever come to the perfect tonal balance for this show. It's a really good balance of the comic book feel and the sci-fi feel, mixing in that slick super spy foundation that S.H.I.E.L.D. has always tried to find, and it finally really feels like the show is not only hitting its stride, which it did for much of last season, but it's rather taking off and running. So it started off a little slow, it stumbled, it fell, but it got back up, and last season it kind of it went from walking, and this is now it's running, it's sprinting, and we're all the better for it. Now, let's start with a quick recap, though, or as quick as I can recap, because if you haven't watched the Season 2 finale, or any of Season 2, definitely go watch that, because that was packed, the Season 2 finale was packed, and this episode is packed, so I'm going to recap it as best as I can. So, Handless, Coulson, and S.H.I.E.L.D. are managing the outbreak of Inhumans following the end of last season as best they can from the shadows, while also grappling with a shadowy government group that encroaches on their work. Simmons is still missing, absorbed into a large, freaky monolith as Fitz desperately seeks to free her. Ward is nowhere to be found, and neither is May. Bobby is recovering, and Hunter and her make up the bulk of the show's romantic subplot, and Mac is, well, Mac. He's kicking ass and cracking jokes. Now that we're done with the recap, to streamline these reviews, I'm going to introduce a new format, and you can sound off with your thoughts in the comments below. We're going to call it Winners and Losers, and each week I'll run down which characters on the show made out like bandits and which just fell flat. So let's get started with our winners. And our biggest winner this time is Fitz. I mean, he is a completely changed man as his heartbreak over losing Simmons is just driving him to great lengths, and we're seeing just what lengths he'll go to get her back. I mean, my favorite sequences in this episode both had Ian DeKestecker in them. The very James Bond-esque scene in Morocco, and the ending scene where you could really just palpably feel his character's emotional devastation. I mean, I sound really fancy using a lot of very big words there, but basically Ian DeKestecker, his character is just emotionally destroyed. And he brings that very well. You just feel it through the TV screen. And that's powerful stuff. It's dark stuff that I really didn't expect from S.H.I.E.L.D., but more on that later. And next up is Rosalind. And yes, Constance Zimmer's addition to the cast was a little bit of a question mark, if only because most folks wondered exactly how she'd fit into an already sizable web of characters. But she fits into a welcome, needed, and honestly, I feel dumb for not seeing where this character would come in. I mean, she fits into this niche very well. She leads a new government-run organization, stepping up exactly where S.H.I.E.L.D. left off. Now, like I said, this makes a lot of sense, and it's something that not a lot of people saw coming, while also laying some universal foundation for Civil War in the process. And another winner, Inhumans. This show does a lot right on the Inhuman front this episode, from Skye using her powers to find and help and shepherd humans, really. Maybe some kind of genetic and maternal instinct there, to Lash looking way more incredible than most kind of feared he would from that first promo image. I know a lot of people kind of, got the Apocalypse Eyes and Ooze pitchforks out, but he looked much better than that. And I mean, this episode is bookended very well with Inhumans as a framing device. It opens with Skye and the team inserted to help a new Inhuman struggling with his powers, setting up for what will be the biggest storyline of this season, the influx of people suddenly realizing they aren't as normal as they hoped they were. And a very small final winner is Coulson's best impression of Metal Gear Solid's Big Boss. Now, there was one scene which was perfect on a train where he used his new robot arm to basically take out a couple assailants with the help of Hunter, but hopefully he can keep on channeling that throughout the season as it's a damn good look. Our lone solitary loser on this one is Lincoln, and with such a large cast, some storylines are bound to slip through the cracks, and this week he was the odd man out. But the reason he gets a negative from me isn't just that he fell through the cracks, it's his sudden shift in character. I mean, don't get me wrong, if I was in his shoes, I'd definitely be reacting the same way. I just wish we had a little more setup for such a drastic change, and for those of you wondering, he's kind of like off. Basically, he's like, I'm not an Inhuman, I want nothing to do with this, I'm just gonna go be a normal doctor. But I mean, I wish we had kind of gotten that set up at the end of Season 2. Once again, it's been a long time, so I might just be forgetting something, but it just still kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. But overall, this was a great way to start a new and promising season for a show that sometimes struggles to find its footing, with a new darker tone that I'll only describe as reminiscent of Empire Strikes Back in the best way. The good guys are not winning, and it's always darkest before the dawn. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. seems poised for its best season yet, much to longtime fans' delight. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next time.